Good evening. I'm Alan Osborne. It's Thursday, November 6th. It's been a while, hasn't it? I think my last show was about the day after my court case. And I'll give you some updates on that. But anyway, we'll start out the day. You can expect a lot more Alan Osborne shows to start coming back on the air. And so we're going to start exposing some of this stuff. I appreciate all the people that reached out to me about what happened in court. We're keeping on, but remember the object here is to really, people go, what the hell's up with that guy? What's his issue? Here's the issue. The government, and it's being demonstrated across the United States right now, the government has forgotten it works for all of us who pay taxes. This horse shit with immigration, Florida, I'm going to tell you right now, look, I'm a conservative and I'm a registered Republican, but mostly I'm a conservative because there's not an exact party out there like me, so I kind of fit in the Republican Party. But if you're a Republican, some of the stuff that's been going on in the Panhandle with quid pro quo, money being spent, let me tell you something. I'm a Republican and I tell other Republicans this. If you're a conservative Republican, you got to ask yourself, what's worse? Us spending $80 million on illegal immigration and not doing anything about it in the Panhandle like we didn't do for years? Or giving $80 million to a special interest project of people who donated money to Republicans so they could get elected and then spend $80 million of taxpayer money as a payback? I don't think either one are acceptable. I mean, look what this stupid immigration thing. Let me tell you, Trump came in office, but let's talk about before Trump came in office the second time. We had 4 years, we still had all the same issues right here in the Florida Panhandle. Fuck, why didn't DeSantis do nothing? Why didn't Mark Glass do nothing? Head of the FDLE, who's from Walton County. Why didn't Mike Atkinson? Why didn't Eric Aiden, sheriff of Okaloosa County, do anything, who was working under Mike Atkinson? Why didn't A.J. Green, I think of Holmes County, who worked under Mike Atkinson, why didn't they do anything? You know why? Because big developers were making money off of illegal immigrant labor, and they couldn't sustain the corrupt growth and the sell-off of the state into tract housing. They couldn't sustain it without the illegal immigration. So the law looked the other way. And I don't give a shit if the laws are Democrat, Republican, or they worship a pet rock. This is just bullshit. That's all it is. So, anyway. So how'd my day go? Like most Alan Osborne days, no good deed goes unpunished. It don't matter how hard you try. Everybody wants an instant result. Nobody wants to do the hard work to get there. I had court again today with the county and I'm going to give everybody, people want to understand my case with the county, I'm going to try to give an update class on it here after the 9th. So we'll talk about what's going on with that. But gave a deposition today to the county with your tax money. And we talked about code enforcement. You're going to see a lot of stuff coming up about code. We talked about Tony Anderson and Matt Carpenter and Stan Sunday. It sounded like a damn reunion of the corrupt good old boys, but Tony Corman's still there. If I said Anderson, I meant Corman. Tony Corman. So we're going to expose code, because here's what code is. Code is a Gestapo. It's not an enforcement of the code and ordinances. It's who you know based on what action you get out of code, because they can filter everything so a special magistrate never sees it. And that's what happened. But really what happened in that case is the county's getting sued over firing a code officer who wanted to enforce a code that the county's request for admissions in that case that got overturned on Sandestin. The county's already admitted that all those laws are in place. Yet Michael Lynch and Corman and Matt Carpenter and other people in there seem, in Alan Osborne's opinion, to have doctored code complaints where the complaints about the ordinance weren't even in the complaints. So you make a complaint, they write up what they want, and then they dismiss it and say, oh, we looked into that. Remember when Brad Drake got up there, oh, I want the truth, Brad Drake? Yeah. Okay, Brad, well, you must not want the truth. We know where you worship, and it's not at a church. Hell, Brad, didn't you complain about where Danny lives? Don't you now live in Panama City, basically? I mean, this horse shit. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can ask the Rolls to watch Danny again, Brad, or some kind of shit, and keep surveillance on where he didn't live. You just can't make this shit up. But they got caught today. The county got caught in that lawsuit, and they're going to get caught in some other lawsuits, because the problem is what the county says and the truth are two different things. And what the county says and what the truth is are mutually exclusive. And that's going to come to light. See, we can change all we want. I mean, Donna, you can't get elected. You should just not run. And I'll talk about the other issues out here. Because, look, Donna just didn't have the guts to stand up to what she said. She complained about policy when she was sitting in the audience and then hid behind those same policies. And we caught her in some lies. She just didn't do what she said she was going to do. And she doesn't even realize it. That's what's so bad. She actually believes she did. She's got that alderman property or whatever shoved so far up her hind end that she can't see nothing else. And she damn sure ain't going to stand up to anybody. And everybody that's dealt with her is sick of her saying, I'm scared. Well, tough shit. Shouldn't run for that office. Anyway, those depositions, they ain't going to be good for the county, because here's the problem. Okay, let's just go through it. Nathan Kirby walked out the door without being fired. And Stan Sunday got fired, but Matt got to walk out the door. And then Stan already hired all these people who were part of the problem, or just like the problem we just got, or related to the problem. You know what Brian Kellenberger's done about it? Not a damn thing, Brian. You ain't done a damn thing. So I'm going to do a show about all the employees that Brian should look into, because evidently he doesn't understand. And Brian, I can get amped up too, because I live this damn shit. I know you're the kind of guy that gets amped up, Brian. Well, guess what? How amped up would you be if it had been at your house? And Brian, somebody told me that you might have some relationship to the military. This is about the Constitution, Brian, and the people who work for you who aren't really following the constitutional requirements of due process and fair play to the citizens of the county. And it's on you, Brian, 100% laying on your shoulders to go cleanse that cancer from the county, because it's still here. We've still got people who are either trained by or are part of issues that have never been dealt with, got their jobs wrongly, and the good people who work in Walton County still see that nothing's been really done about that shit. You got a cover-up artist in Danny Glidewell. I don't know if Warren can cut the mustard to do that job. I don't even know if he's well enough. Warren, you're going to have to get here and prove it to us. Go to every meeting. Stand up and tell us what you're going to do. You're going to have to answer some... I like Warren, but he's going to have to answer some questions. So, anyway, that's what's kind of going on in the Alan Osborne world. And, you know, just trying to weigh my way through the shit show and come to some kind of landing on it. But speaking of shit shows, hold on. Okay, let me resume. Welcome to Candidate Dickhead. That's why I cut the top of his head off, because I'd have to draw a head of a penis on it. Look, this is that cancer I told y'all about that came from Navarre. Go look him up. This sucker thinks he's a strap hanger, is what he is. So let me tell you something. First of all, for what your wife said, and your little Russian wife, let me tell you something. First of all, I spent most of my life sitting in Europe, flying back and forth on the border because a bunch of idiot Russians threatened the whole world. So because of her ancestries, I spent a lot of my life flying in the air, so I really don't give a damn what she thinks anymore, and I give a damn what all those Islamocrats in D.C. think. Not a bit more. So as far as she said her husband was trying to have a man-to-man conversation with me. No, your husband was a jackass and blew up my phone. And here's the deal. Here's what he said about me, and I'll just tell you, I say He's a dumbass looking for glory. And he sure ain't no leader. He's wrapped up in a church, and he believed Jesus has anointed him and his wife. Her shit's so far off the right end, I just wait for them to say our grandparents were the Russian Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. That God brought them together, God brought them here. Listen, y'all quit telling people that God did something for you. Okay, stop using God to further yourself. How about being just thankful for it? And then when you start telling people what good Christians you are, that's the first damn red flag that you ain't one. I sure know I'm not perfect, and I'm sure God didn't come down here and anoint the words that I'm telling to you guys. But he gave me a lot of common sense, and I'm thankful for it. Now look here, dumbass. You went down in flames. I don't want to hear about what you did and what your wife says. Let me tell you something. When you should have been a stain on the mattress, I was in Europe fighting the Russians from coming over, okay? I was in places like Desert Storm when you were playing with beach chairs. So if you don't like that, you write down what you think it should be, and then you take that paper and roll it up in a tight wad and shove it up your ass, because I don't want to hear your bullshit. That pissed me off how much you called me like I invited you to call me. I told you that time I met you, what do you want? Who the fuck are you? You moved here to be a politician. You look like the same crooks who just spent $80 million on not really beach property, okay? I ain't got no use for you. And here's what really pisses me off. For you people that know me, spent most of my life working for either part of U.S. SOCOM called U.S. Special Operations Command and some other commands. And when we wanted to name the bridge in Navarre after a guy who hung out at Juana's, his name's John Chapman, he won the Medal of Honor. He wanted to butt snorkel the President of the United States. I guess maybe he thought Donald Trump would go, hey, look at that young man with the Russian wife wanting to name a bridge after me. Gosh almighty, I need to get down to Florida and let somebody butt snorkel me like that. I'm the president, and I could use another butt snorkel. Please. What horse shit? Fuck you, man. We wanted to name that after a Medal of Honor winner. You know what he said on social media? I done screenshot it, so don't delete it, Slick. I don't delete mine. He said that the Democrats shot him down. Let me tell you, Herbert Field and the Special Operations Command, most of those heroes and heroettes, they're conservatives, and they fight wars while pussies like you stay and set up beach rental businesses, okay? So that's how that goes. So don't call us Democrats. I forgot more about the Constitution and freedoms than you and wifey will ever know. And that's just all there is about that. So that should, here endeth the lesson, and you chose poorly picking me as an adversary, because I'm going to give it to you. Anyway, just wanted to say, I'm coming back to the show. We're gonna talk about Lidewell. We're going to talk about what hadn't happened, how come none of the commissioners have voted for that forensic audit and planning that we desperately need, and it becomes forensic audit and code and a forensic audit and engineering to see what we've lied about to the people, because it's the people who pay those bills. Tune in to my show. In fact, old James Cockhead, won't you show up to the trial with the county and I'll show you how to tell the truth. Obviously, you don't understand how the world works, but since that crushing defeat that you took for being and this is also a friend of big development, go read up on him. If you think Walton County is overdeveloped and being handed to the developers, this guy's going to put it up on the plate and bless that plate with Jesus. Not on my watch, you ain't, kid. You go back to wherever the hell you came from, because we don't need you here. You know, you ain't got no skin in the game, so get out. And that's the way it was. Another dickhead entered politics, and I'm unimpressed on the Alan Osborne show. Y'all keep them straight out there, because like I said, no good deed goes unpunished. And that's just the way life is. This young man's about to find out. Y'all keep them straight. We'll go into the other candidates shortly. Let me know who you are, people. See you next time. Till then, I'm Alan Osborne. Good night.